Matthew, I think we have just witnessed one of the greatest finals games in history. Canberra versus the Brisbane Broncos. I mean, we anticipated it was going to be good, but that was... does this set the final series up for a horrible grand final?
Mate, Coops, and as we talk here, to let people know, this is one game that we really haven't had a second look at. The other games that we'll watch and then go on, I'll go back and sort of review certain parts of it to understand the nuances of the game and how it was panned out. This one, I've just come straight from work, straight into here. Mate, I'm still blown away by it.
Unbelievable. The controversy, the drama in it. There was so many different dramatic points.
Oh,
and then you look at the even key moments like Reece Walsh missing a couple of those goals, hits the crossbar on a 2-point field goal, and you think, oh, this is done. After the siren, a penalty to then kick a goal from in front. I mean, that was a soap opera dressed up as an NRL game,
mate. It was incredible, and Jack and I were talking on the drive home. I rang him on the way back to say, mate, I'll be back in about 20 minutes, and chat. We had a broad discussion about the game, and Jack made a point which I hadn't thought of until Jack said it, and it is so accurate in the fact that the Reece Walsh sin binning for the headbutt actually played into the Broncos' hands. Now, people say, oh, that's crazy, but think of it like this. He goes off for that 10 minutes. In that 10 minutes, like the pace of the game and the intensity of the game, he got a 10-minute breather.
Yeah.
He went back. Now, I know they went down to 11 men, right? But he's sitting off there. He gets to breathe for 10 minutes, goes back on the field. By that point, I think they're down by 16 points.
Yeah.
And he comes on totally fresh in a game where all the big men are fatigued and just goes wham, wham, wham.
Yeah.
It is one of, I can't remember a game where an individual has had such a eventful game, an eventful afternoon like he did. But his last 15 minutes, when he came back on after the sin bin, I'd almost put up on level as far as performance with Nathan Cleary in that grand final.
Agreed.
With the Penrith, over the Broncos.
Well, this is the thing, and you look at the best finals games of all time, and most of them are grand finals because it's just the most memorable. You think of Broncos versus Cowboys, 2015, Ben Hunt drops it, Jonathan Thurston kicks that field goal. You look at 2022, I believe it was, or 2023, Penrith versus Broncos, and Nathan Cleary puts on that clinic to get him back.
Yeah.
And now you look at this game, Canberra versus Broncos. Broncos have been in the three probably biggest finals games of the last 20 years.
I know, Coops. And I was sitting in that last dramatic, as it went to extra time, we went into the studio and I'm sitting next to Kevy Walters in the studio. And he's watching the game. And like, of course, with his son Billy playing, who, by the way, has been playing outstanding.
Yeah, shout out.
But he's sitting there and I watched him at the most crucial part of the game when it's going to golden point and extra time and all that sort of stuff. Every time Billy got the ball, I just saw Kevy tighten. And I know what that's like as a father. It's just like, mate, don't make an error.
Yeah.
Don't make, just get up, play the ball. Yep, okay. Right. And I could see that with Kev. And, mate, he was right. He was on the roller coaster.
You can imagine what he would have been like as a coach when he was coaching them in those big games as well, with Billy out there.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those games where people will remember where they were when they watched it, I reckon. Because I was sitting there with 5 minutes to go in that game when Reece Walsh missed that field goal, hit the crossbar. I thought, I think it's all done. I ordered chicken wings, right, from Wings and Tins. Now they're up the road, and they give you I scheduled it for 20 minutes time, just in case it went to like extra time or whatever. But anyway, it goes to extra time. It gets to golden point. My chicken wings are ready, like they're ready to be picked up, and you don't want to leave chicken going too long because salmonella reasons and shit.
Yeah.
And then it gets into extra time and it just continues to go and go. I can only imagine what it was like for you. By the time I got there, my chicken wings were cold.
I was going to say, I can only imagine. I feel so sorry for your wings.
They were. The bloke was like, where have you been? But I can only imagine what that's like for you guys in the studio too. You're thinking you're about to go straight on air and then an extra half an hour till you don't get on air.
And the crowd in the studio, because we had Broncos fans in the crowd. We had numerous Raiders supporters and it was just, it was crazy, Coop. It was... And, there's so much happened in that last 20, 25 minutes. There's a lot. I just forget a lot of it. Like, you know, when you said Reece Walsh hit the ball and it hit the crossbar, I went, shit, that's right. I'd forgotten about that because just so much was going on.
So many key moments, like obviously the send-offs, but then even that last penalty, you know, Zach Hosking, great friend of the potty, who probably wouldn't have been penalised for it if not for 7 weeks ago when Harry Grant got penalised for it against Manly. They sort of set a precedent there.
Yeah.
Because I'm watching it, you go, as a fan, you go, an unbiased fan, you go, it's probably not a penalty. He didn't actually put dangerous kick pressure on, but they set a precedent where if you hit that leg at all, it's a penalty.
Yeah.
After the ref had blown his whistle, they're all celebrating on the sideline, and then they brought in that new rule not long ago where you can review if it's the last play, the bunker can intervene.
It's so
dramatic.
So dramatic, so much. You know, they would be sitting there, those Raiders players with their head on the pillow, staring at the roof, saying, if only, if that just had happened. And if we go through the game now, and earlier in the week, I was looking at this game and I thought, yeah, you know, what gave the Broncos and gave the Broncos a chance going into the game, is the fact that they like to play a very similar style. Yep. It was going to be a day game. It was going to be a fast track, and you can move the ball around. They both like to play attacking football. So it was going to be, okay, who attacks best? It's not like when you have an opposition like a Penrith, and they go, righto, they might out-attack you, but they also might suffocate you with that style. Both of those sides, mate, they got their DNA. They like to move the football. They like to open the field up for their quick guys, particularly the guys out the back, Walsh and Kyo Weeks. And so as the game started I was thinking, who's going to win this? Early in the week, I thought, I reckon Broncos might. But today I got up and when I driving into work, I went, man, it's a fait accompli. For me, the Raiders, in my mind, were always going to win this. And then the game started and the Broncos started so quick and energetic. I thought, wow. But the Raiders, after a bit of an unsettled start, sort of steadied themselves, absorbed a lot of that pressure and then counterpunched. And from there up until it was 14 minutes to go, I'm watching it and I'm saying, righto, it's basically getting to the point it's going to be Raiders by how many?
Yeah.
Righto? Raiders by what? And then they score that try. And over the commentary, they go, oh, you know, it's not over yet. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, technically it's not, but it is. I just don't know where Broncos are going to get their points that quickly. And then, of course, they just kept going down Canberra's right-hand side defence. And I know later we're going to talk midweek. We'll give our preview, but that's an area they've got to tighten up. That right hand
defence,
Defence, it was all at sea.
Yeah, Fogarty, Walsh, Timoko and Stewart. Yeah.
He just kept going down that side, Reece Walsh, continually.
And you could see when you go down an edge and you start to lose confidence. Like I think the first try they scored, Walsh went down. He made a line break himself. Timoko turned out. He went through Fogarty and then scored. The next time they go down there, Timoko and everyone turns in, obviously not wanting to take a dummy. He throws long, the winger scores. Then the next one, Billy Walters pumps long, Jed Stewart goes out, and then Shibasaki goes through. You just see how you toy with an edge defence by just showing them different variations.
Beautiful little variations all the time. Nice little variations. And they were...
The game was at an intensity... It was a completely different level to all the other three finals games, I thought.
I totally agree. It was not just the exciting finish, but the intensity and the speed of the game made it the best finals game. And Coop, that's day football.
Yeah.
We always say, mate, day football is you can move the ball around. It's a faster game. And the reason why Cooper gets more exciting in the back end of the game is the nature of the game of day football, the moving, the intensity, the pace means that the big guys really tire out. Yeah. Like you look at the last 20 minutes, it was just like touch football moving around. And that's the thing. Sorry, Coops. That's the thing about it is if you go back and you go back and watch the game, and what it'll show is that first 30 minutes was so fast and so intense. You got a little clue of what was to come. In that last 10 minutes, you see the middles were out on their feet and they were so vulnerable. Remember, Kyo scored that try, checked off his right foot, went through basically untouched, and that's when you went, righto, this second half is going to be all about the little guys. Yeah. And that's how it transpired.
Well, there were different cycles where I was watching the game going, geez, Broncos are out on their feet here. Like they looked so tired. And then 10 minutes later, like Raiders looked completely out on their feet. It just kept the fatigue that was like a baton. They just kept passing the fatigue over. And even though it was a high intense game, when 20 minutes in, Madge brings Payne Haas off. because he's a bloke that can play huge minutes. He's played 80 minutes in numerous games, but it's so intense, and he wants him to be effective, not out there just trying to get through the game. He's got to be playing at a high intensity that even Payne has to come off, and then obviously goes on, hurts his ankle, and he soldiered through the rest of that game.
Well, Coop, and people say all the time, sport is 95% mental, 5% physical. This is an example of it, in the fact that you're watching that second half, not long after half time, I'm watching, and I say to Fletcher and Heine, I said, mate, look at the Broncos middles. They're gone. They're out on their feet. I said, they're just going to blast away here, the Raiders. But when Walsh comes back on the field and that first try they scored to bring it back to, what was it, 28-16? Yeah, anyway, they were within 12. And suddenly what happened there was the Broncos all of a sudden get energised. And it's not like the Raiders hit the wall. They didn't hit the wall. What they did, they stopped playing. They got nervous. Straight away when they scored that try, it was almost all in their minds of going, we can't lose this from here. Surely not. Then they score again. And the Raiders just stopped playing football.
Yeah.
They will look back on that game in that last 14 minutes, and more than just talking about the right side defence or the errors they made and little defensive misreads and all that, the biggest thing Ricky will say is, boys, we stopped playing.
Yeah.
And in the modern game, with the speed of the rucks and the momentum, is that, mate, if you stop playing, right, and you're just trying to defend, mate, the side's just going to go wham, 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 and just rattle them up.
Well, particularly a side like the Broncos. Like, you saw it throughout that whole game. Canberra kicked a lot of 7-tackle sets, and you see the effect of 7-tackle set. You saw it across the whole weekend, how during the round you probably don't see it because you're not playing up against the best sides a lot of the weeks. So sometimes you might be playing against a bottom 4 side, kick a 7-tackle set. They don't really make you pay for it.
Yeah.
In finals footy, little errors like that. There was one where Kaio kicked it early and it went 7. Broncos, you don't wrestle the momentum back for 10, 15 minutes. Like sides, they get down there, they put you in a corner or they get a repeat set, and you do not get back down your side of the field for an attacking chance again for 15, 20 minutes. It takes all the fatigue out.
It does. And Coop, it happens to the best of them. We're going to talk about the Wales and Penrith a little bit later, but Nathan Cleary once in the second half just put it through a bit of a frivolous kick, 7-tackle set. Warriors went down the other end of the field like a Halasima scores.
Yeah.
Right. And it happens to the best of them. The best defences, when you give away a 7-tackle set, momentum just swings.
Can I ask, we're going to get to our backfence player of this match, but I want to ask you, we're going to preview during the week, but Payne Haas, obviously those boys go through to a prelim. We don't know the extent of Payne Haas's injury. Can they win the prelim grand final without Payne Haas, do you think, the Brisbane Broncos?
I think they can. Look, they can, but it just makes everything a little bit harder. That's, other guys are going to have to step right up. Here's the thing about it too: they got a nervous wait, the Broncos, for next day or two. Not just as far as injuries concerned. The Reece Walsh headbutt, righto, and
Carrigan,
mate, the Pat Carrigan one, which might even be more serious than the Reece Walsh one. I'll say this: in the Broncos' favour, the NRL really want Walsh there.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
And can I looked at that incident, right, and had there wasn't a lot in it. Like the headbutt was, and I get the headbutt and yada yada, and it should have been a penalty to the Raiders. I thought I didn't like that Hudson had actually been sent off for just instigating and niggling, because that's part of the game. Sometimes
part of the game.
You try to get under the opposition's skin so they make an error like punching or something so they get sent off. It's your advantage. But I didn't think there was a lot in. Reece Walsh went off. I don't think he should be suspended for it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I hope he doesn't, Coop. So I want him there. It's like he's so powerful for the game. He brings people to the game. I hope he doesn't. I hope he plays, but I think it's going to be a nervous wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the same with Carrigan. I mean, I want the best players. I just want the best players from both sides out there.
Yeah.
Right? And it's funny with the Hudson one getting 10 in the Symbiont. I went, come on, guys, what's that? Just because one person gets, there's a bit of a melee, just because there's a bit of a push and shove, and someone's going to go to the Symbiont, doesn't mean a player from the opposition has to go to the Symbiont as well.
The modern game, it's like they are afraid of criticism, so they try to make it equal.
Yeah.
Even though it's not equal. Not equal. And Hudson got in his face, and I understand he probably instigated it, but at the end of the day, it is on you as a player to hold your nerve a little bit. And while she probably got a bit angry, gave him a bit of a love tap, a little bit Liverpool kiss. But I didn't think that you need to send Hudson to square it up.
No, you could look. Someone gets in your face and sledges you, then part of the professional is you've got to take it. You can give a little bit back, but the reason they're sledging you is they're going, come on, go and have a go. They're trying to unnerve you, or they're trying to get you to react. And Reece did that. Hudson.
I'll tell you what, it was great acting from Huddy as well. Huddy, he would have won a silver logie for it because he gave him a little nudge on the chin, and then he pushed him. Hudson fully hit the deck, but he did it so well. It didn't actually look like a flop. It looks like he actually got pushed over.
Yeah, I wouldn't say silver logie, I'd say gold logie.
Yeah, I just thought, there's been some good performances. Harry Grant probably takes the gold.
Yeah, he does. I'll just say this, Coop. This is both coaches would have been up in that box when the game went into toward 100 minutes, going, "Geez, we're going to get through here." We've got to get through here because Ricky's got a huge job now to get the players up mentally, physically, yes, but more mentally to get to try to climb that mountain again when you're just about home. And let's talk about the Broncos for 1 second. You saw the effect of the Broncos in the last 18 months after losing that grand final.
Yeah.
After being ahead in almost such a similar situation, being ahead with 14, 15 minutes to go and getting run down and beaten, and the effect that had on them in the next season, right? Even into the next year, it had an effect. Ricky's got 1 week to get them up and get them going again, and that's without talking about the physical side of it. Where Madge goes, okay, he goes away. They fly back tonight to Brisbane. They exhale.
Relief.
Yeah, righto. To put our legs up for a few days. Righto, let's get ourselves ready.
Well, I remember Cameron Smith used to say this leading into finals when he was at the Storm. He said, "You need the week off." He said, "I've played." These people have got different theories. Sometimes people like to play consistently week in, week out, and get momentum going into a grand final. He said, "I've done it every single way someone can in finals footy, and the way you win a grand final is you got to win that. If you're in the top 4, this is why people don't win outside of the top 4, not because they're a worse team or they finish lower on the ladder. It's not because of that. It's because you don't get the opportunity to get the week off. You have to go you have to play each week against top 8 teams and then get into a grand final. But Melbourne have done it when they've won the grand final. They've always gone week off, play a prelim, and then get to the grand final. And I think it's a point that probably isn't stressed enough how important that week off is to go straight to a prelim.
There's always been that discussion. Keep playing football, keep winning and get momentum, or have a week off. There was always the debate. And I remember back when I played, and even the years just before that preceded me, the feeling was, no, keep playing. The week off can break your momentum, and you get out of the groove. Now everyone universally just goes, no.
You need it.
You need the week off.
Yeah.
Who's your best? Was a backfence player of the match?
Our backfence player of the match. I mean, my one. He was my X factor in the preview for this week. Reece Walsh. Yeah. I think he was unbelievable. At halftime, I had Hudson written down, Hudson Young. I thought Hudson was unbelievable. Set up a try off a kick, scored one off a Fogarty kick, and he was giving Ben Hunt nightmares all game, running at him one-on-one. But Reece Walsh, 2 40-20s, 2 try assists, a try of his own, and he's just his overall impact and energy when he come back on that field. I thought he was unbelievable.
One of his greatest performances, and as I said before, that last 15 minutes, the way he came on and just basically almost single-handedly won that game, I'd say his greatest performance, 15-minute period, you just go, wow. To frame that, put it up on the wall. Look, you've said it's Reece Walsh, so I'll go a different way. Yeah. My back fence, but I'm going to have Billy Walters.
Yeah.
I just think Billy, defensively, he was really strong. Mate, his running game was really strong. Some nice little depth moments. And we'll talk about this more in the preview. But I without a doubt, I think that Reynolds will come back. Reynolds will go, in my opinion, into the team. I reckon they will keep Billy Walters at 6, and I think Ben Hunt will go to 9.
Yeah, okay.
I think so. I think sometimes with Ben Hunt and Renault, there's a bit of sameness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look, but Billy just brings a little bit of something different.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be a tough decision for him. I mean, good decision to have because he's got blokes who he can do a job there. But I think it'll be interesting.
And well done to Madge because he's copped a lot of stick through the year when about all the stuff, how hard he trained him. Here we go. Oh, here we go again, Madge. Well, I'll tell you what, the reason he trained him hard was in evidence this afternoon.
Yeah.
Because, mate, they dug in and were able to win that game. And I tell you what, they don't win that game last year.
No way.
They do not win that game last year. This year, they're more battle hardened. I think they've got a mental toughness about them. They're going to take a lot of stopping, Coop.
On the now to the Saturday night game, the Roosters played the Sharks. Obviously, elimination game. Roosters are now out. They're on Mad Monday. Sharks will play the loser of that Broncos versus Raiders game. So the Sharks v the Raiders next week, which we'll preview. But what did you take out of this Roosters and Sharks game? Because I think a lot of the games this round, they all started the first 20 minutes very physical, very high intense. How did you see this one?
Look, in a nutshell, Coop, the Sharks, they played smarter, but I think more important. I mean, that's primary importance, but as important was how physical they played.
Yeah,
like the Roosters have been beating sides on the back of their physicality. Like their pack has been enormous, but mate, I just thought the Sharks pack were outstanding, and one of the things that allowed them to defend so strongly was the fact that the back three, Sione Katoa and Ronaldo, like the work that they do in yardage, Coop, just mate, weaving through, getting them on the back foot. They dominate sets of six, a little bit like Brian To'o and Dylan Edwards, do with Penrith when they're flying. The fact that they dominated sets of six, they would bring the ball back to the Sharks forwards.
Yeah.
And it just allowed the Sharks forwards to take a little breather in yardage and then keep the gas in the tank, for defence. And that was always going to be really important because they were up against a side that had Sam Walker, who's been flying in attack, but the other one, mate, Tedesco. To defend, the Sharks pack, they needed energy in the tank to be able to withstand what Tedesco was going to do with his with his fast feet through the middle and his pass selection. So that was it for me. I thought they played smart. I thought they played tough, but I thought Ronaldo and Sione Katoa, I thought they were so good for their forwards.
Yeah, I agree. And you make a good point on their physicality. I think all the games were physical but what the Sharks did so well was they actually attacked with their defense, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
A lot of times they front-loaded so much energy into defense, forcing errors out of the Roosters. But a key moment for me was, I think it was Ronaldo Mulitalo's second try in that first half, right before halftime, which was a real, nail in the coffin, I thought. Like a big moment to score right before halftime. But Sammy Walker makes an error, and their mentality, when I say they use their defense to attack, the transition straight away, someone picks it straight up off the ground. Yeah. They get on the attack, find Billy Burns. Billy Burns almost scores. He gets tackled. They go pass. Nico gets a quick play the ball, finds Trindle. Trindle kicks it across to Mulitalo. But just that fitness, and a lot of teams off the back of an error sometimes use it and they get a breather. They go, right, we got the ball back. Let's slow things down. Yeah. Let's get into our set. Going. They just picked it up, transitioned so quickly, went down there. Roosters were scattered. They get the ball to the right man, Mulitalo, and he ends up scoring.
I really like that about the Sharks. They did less set-up football, and that's important, Coop, because at times in the game, like what you just said there, the attacks cook and there's opportunity on. Mate, let's just keep playing football. Let's trust ourselves. Let's back ourselves here. Because oftentimes in situations like that, Coop, you'll see it. They'll go, mate, just take one to the middle for us. We used to call it back in the day, just take us a settler.
Yeah.
All it does is settle the defence. It resets the defence. That's what I loved about the Sharks. Whenever there was opportunity, they backed themselves and they went for it. Trindle, from early in the game, you could see that week off had served him well. He looked fresh, and you go, mate, he was really on. I think it's the best game he's ever played as an NRL player.
Yeah.
And I actually think at the moment, because winning competition is all about timing, I reckon this is the best that I've ever seen the Sharks play while Craig Fitzgibbon has been coached there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that one you just said about there where the ball came out from Sammy Walker, I tell you what was crucial in that moment too was the fact that they didn't score on that play.
Yeah.
I reckon if they score on that play, they go back and look at that, and I reckon there might have been a hand in there. Right? But the fact that they didn't score, and that's a little anomaly in the rules, that They pushed it on the following play and were able to score.
And we talked about the settlers before. A lot of people use that settler, I think, as a cop-out to buy themselves time to think of what you're going to do in your set.
Yeah.
Like, me and you are both halves sitting here, but we got Jack here, Jack's actually got, for those people watching on YouTube, he set himself up a little camera where we can actually see him now.
Yeah, we've actually set our budget. Yeah, set up budget aside, Coop, as you can see.
But you, from a bloke who's actually played in the forwards and back row, is that how you see the settler as well sometimes? Because oftentimes the halves are giving you the ball to just take it to a point to settle it for them.
Yeah.
Is that how you see that?
There was, I think, the second try for the Broncos. You saw, I'm not too sure which forward it was. It might have been, I'm not too sure which one it was, but I think Benny Hunt just dropped him off, and you saw him accelerate into the line, and there was nothing really doing. Even the commentators were saying, "There's nothing going on," and then he just exploded, like almost goose stepped half through the line, got a quick play of the ball, and then they have that try on Tamale on the edge, and they just Katoni Staggs just like tipped it on. I think that showed, like, if you are going to do a settler like that, you sort of have to offer something a bit different. You have to sort of get through the line a bit more, and it's hard to do. I think a lot of that relies purely on your physicality and your fitness when it goes to those like back ends of the halves.
Great example. I mean, we are previewing now. We have moved on from that game. We actually are on the Sharks versus the Roosters game.
I do know,
right?
It's great to see that even you're not listening.
It'd be nice if you used an example here and there, Cooper. It'd be nice.
Can I use one here? And oftentimes I'll talk about shot football when you're saying like, and it works. Shot football works very, very good against an enthusiastic defence. And we're going to I'll talk about this later when we talk Dogs Storm. And it's working to one side of the field, gathering numbers, and then immediately don't reset, just send the ball to the other side of the field as quickly as you can to the far post. That's shot. Short, gather numbers, hit them on the other side. There's another one I want to do. There's another little, raught's not the right word, but the little thing in the game to have a look at, right, is this. When I think it might be the Sharks' second try. Have a look at what happens. Talakai gets tackled inches from the try line right underneath the post. Now, what happens in that instance? When you've got a player on your side that has been brought down and he's tackled right near the try line, okay, in and around the post, what happens is bees to the honeypot. Have a look. Next time you see that situation, have a look at how many defenders are all gathered around, just guarding that inches off the ground. Like there's 5 or 6 blokes. So on either edge, there's opportunity.
Yeah.
So what you've got to do in that instance is you just got to go clinically. You just got to go pass to an edge really quick. There's a fair chance you're going to score. Most teams stuff it up. Right, because they say it's very, very hard to attack that close to the line. Well, it isn't. Just drive another one in close to the line, gather them in, then hit them on an edge. Sharks do that. Their second try, Talakai, nearly scores, gets brought down just short of the line. The Roosters all condense and around, and they just go bang, bang to the edge and score. It's evidence that Sharks just took the opportunities that were there. We're very good at taking their opportunities.
Yeah, I agree. I think they finally found that. We said it last week, but they found their football. They found it.
And I found Coops, and this is, for whatever reason, the combination of Braden Trindle and Nicho Hynes always garners attention and critique. You know, everyone was talking about, who's the boss? And he's not doing this. He's in good form. He's not. Well, I think what we saw the other night was it working perfectly in the fact that Trindle, he had the hot hand. So he was doing most of the finessing and the organising. What I loved about Nicho's game, did he have a couple of errors? Yeah, he had a couple of errors. I loved how aggressively he played.
Yeah.
That's the thing where I sit and go, that's how Trindle plays, the organising and that sort of stuff. Hey, Nicho, that's exactly how you play. I don't give a fuck about getting in, making errors here and there. Mate, I just need you taking that ball to the line and just threatening the defence all the time. Look at the size of you, look at your speed, look at your footwork.
Yeah.
And Nicho, Blake Brayley, the elevation of his game in the last 6-7 weeks has really elevated Nicho. The scoop and go of Blake Brayley, that's encouraged Nicho to play in the front football. Less thinking, more just reacting. And I think that's Nicho's best football.
Yep. And my back fence player of this game, you just said it before, Braden Tricky Trindle. I think he had the hot hand in this game. Nicho's probably been their main man the last 5 or 6 weeks. He's had the hot hand. He's been putting on all the try assists and stuff. I think Tricky was unbelievable. It was always going to be a good battle between Nwanga Nitawase and Mulatalo.
Yep.
Mulatalo ended up getting the upper hand in the end. Loves shit stirring. Shit stirring. I love it.
Mate, he brings the swagger and the menace.
Correct.
You need it.
Yeah, but I thought Tricky was unbelievable in giving him good opportunities and just always found the right pass. Always happened to find the right pass. Knew where the space was, knew how to get it there.
And another thing really impressed me before I do my backfence player, the thing that really impressed me about the Sharks is in that last 10 minutes when the game was on the line, they came up with a couple of errors, but they held their nerve and they were able to defend it. They showed mental toughness to get through it. My backfence player, and the reason they brought this bloke to the club, he highlighted it the other night, Adam Fanua-Blake. Mate, I said on the show just an hour or so ago, if you're watching, I said, when you talk about the greatest middlemen and yardage men of all time, or the ones that I've seen, right? I go Glenn Lazarus, Jason Taumalolo, Payne Haas, Adam Fanua-Blake.
Yeah.
He is a phenomenon.
Yeah.
And there was periods in that game where the game was really in the balance. He just kept taking it up and just kept punching through.
Oh. And
this was against the Roosters pack, mate, that's been dominating other packs in the back half of this year. And, mate, at times he was just taking them on himself.
Yeah.
The bloke is a phenomenal footballer.
And some of the front rowers who probably don't get the recognition like Glenn Lazarus's and Payne Haas's because they don't play State of Origin. Like Adam Fanua-Blake and Taumalolo, both in their primes, if they were to play State of Origin, they would be recognised way more than they would because Origin is seen as the pinnacle. Yeah. But they are both they are so unbelievable through that middle.
Fanua-Blake, the way he played last night, you just go, Craig Fitzgibbon went into the box and going, That's why we bought that bloke. That's why we bought that bloke to win those matches and to win next week. And if we get to the grand final, to be able to win grand finals. He's the type of bloke you need in the side. They're the blokes that win titles for you.
Yeah, it'll be a good game next week. And then to the Saturday afternoon game, Penrith Panthers played the Warriors over in New Zealand. It was afternoon here, night in New Zealand. But it was bloody an absolute dogfight the first half. Horrible weather.
Great to watch.
It was good to watch. Yeah, Warriors brought a physicality that I hadn't seen a lot of the year, given injuries and whatnot. But they give it to Penrith at the start.
Mate,
they give it to them.
The Wars really dominated long periods of the game with their physicality, but mate, Penrith had the smarts because they had the 7.
Yeah,
that's it. It's just the importance, of putting in the right kick at the right time and little things like that, making sure. And Isaiah Yeo had a lot to do with that as well, making sure, okay, the ball's got to get there. Let's get it there.
And we did say that in the preview during the week. We said that the Warriors side is a great side, but they do lack the creativity. That's where we were going to question in comparison to Penrith Panthers, who had Nathan Cleary. Yeah. You saw with the weather as well, it actually played into the Warriors' hands because it was so wet. There wasn't a lot of creative play happening, but they were down there for the first half. Warriors had so many play the balls inside, and they just couldn't create points. They kicked the 2 points early, but they just couldn't create points. Then you see Penrith go down there when momentum finally shifts. Nathan Cleary just building pressure. The biggest moment I saw in the impact in the game, because it ended up sort of blowing out the scoreline, but the scoreline did not represent the game.
No, not at all.
Nathan Cleary, the pressure that he put on the Warriors forward pack in defence just by he did an early kick in the right corner on third tackle, kept him down there, and then after that he kicked about 3 or 4 repeat sets.
Yeah, he did.
And there was a 10-15 minute period where the Warriors didn't even see the ball.
Coop, you are spot on. It took a little while for them to really get their template on. And Penrith's template is, like you just said, kick long early, chase ferociously, and defend like killers. Attack, like you just said before. Attack through your defence. And they did that. And the first time they got one of those suffocation sets on, where they got him in the corner and kept going at him, they scored the following set. And then not long after, you're right, not long after Nathan went repeat set, Blaze Talangi went repeat set. Nathan went repeat set. And, mate, you're right. The Warriors didn't have the ball for almost 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Then they go into half time and you come out after half time and Brad Snyder scores a soft try from dummy half. Well, why did you score a soft try? Because, mate, it was fatigue.
Yeah.
And it was pressure, that physical and mental pressure that they built. I will say, like, I've got so much respect for the Warriors for the amount of players and crucial players they lost. Metcalf, the best example, but a forward leader of the quality of Mitch Barnett to leave him. But there's certain things that, like early in the game, when you play a team like Penrith and you're the underdog, what they needed to do early, Warriors, is strike a blow early, right? Strike a blow, and suddenly you find you pinch a try early, 6-0, and suddenly that little bit of pressure goes on Penrith. Then what happens is you get a penalty and you take the 2 points, it's 8-0. So all of a sudden you're outside of that 6-point split. And that's how, like, to cause an upset, a lot of times you've got to start well, and then bit by bit the scoreboard pressure goes on the red-hot favourites, right? And that was the opportunity they had. And they had an opportunity. They had a penalty early, and Tanner Boyd didn't put it out. That is unforgivable.
Yeah.
Unforgivable. At that level, the importance of that game, to not put it out in that situation, that is bread and butter for a playmaker. You got to put it out. In a finals match when, you're the underdog and you're playing against a high-flying team, a team of the quality of Penrith, they give you an opportunity there, you got to take it.
Yeah. And now you see, you saw a little bit of weakness from Penrith that start of the game where Warriors sort of probably got it over them physically, but now there is an eerie feeling about any team that comes up against Penrith from here.
Yeah.
I would not want to be playing Penrith after that sort of win, but have you got a backfence player of this match?
Well, I'll just say, we'll just have them sort of look. I get some random notes here. One, I've got to say this: Paul Alamotti saved that 40-20, pushed it in, then he found a way of getting it out of the in goal, and then a few tackles later, Nathan kicks, bounces. I like he bounce, get it, and they go through, and you go, "Oh, that's luck." Yeah, but you make your own luck. Yeah. That's a perfect example of a bloke that has just done this incredible play and got out there, the effort, and suddenly you get lucky. But
had a mixed night. Alamotti too. I thought he had a bit of a mixed night. They went after him a lot in the air, forced a couple errors, but that moment was a very key moment, and you see why Ivan picked him now.
Two blokes off the bench for Penrith that deserve great praise. Luke Garner, I thought was great when he came on.
Yep.
But Liam Henry. I think Liam Henry's best game as an NRL player.
Yeah.
He came off the bench. He gave him an enormous lift.
Yeah, Isaiah Papali'i was really good too.
He's my back fence player.
Oh, is he?
Yep. In those conditions, in the wet, tricky conditions, which was a grind, and the Warriors really went at him with physicality, I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah, Ice Baby, shout out to him. Mine was Nathan Cleary. Just for reinforce what I said before, I think in big games, kicking games and kicking threats, where you turn them over, that's the most important thing. And he played so simple, built pressure. It was good to see the old people actually going for repeat sets and probably getting rewarded for it. Ever since the short dropouts come into the game, people don't really go. They more go for attacking kicks to try to go for a try, because you don't really get rewarded for repeat sets these days because everyone's good at getting the ball back off a short dropout. But I thought Nathan did an unbelievable job. Now to the Friday night.
Yeah.
What?
Can I say something?
Oh yeah, go on.
Sorry,
Jack wants to say something.
Sorry, could I just ask, is the backfence player is it inspired by our man Bruiser?
Yeah, it is.
Of course.
Yeah. I wanted to say it, but I thought, you know what?
Yeah.
We'll just let the listeners may piece it together. Probably not. But yeah, shout out to Bruiser.
And also, can I have a shout out to my major sponsor for this week, which is the Old Bar Tavern, which was providing lots and lots of good times for everyone up in Old Bar over the weekend. I just got back tonight.
You went up there with a couple of mates?
Played golf day.
Yeah. It's they got all this merchandise, reverse hats.
Wow.
Old Bar Tavern.
Old Bar Tavern.
Jack's getting sponsors.
Uptari, so
Jack's getting sponsors now.
Yeah,
side sponsors. Yeah, it's thanks. Yeah, sorry. That's the back fence. Sorry, I'm just turning him down because he's just heavy breathing.
True Blue Brew.
Yeah, hey, True Blue. Yeah, Bruiser. This was inspired by Bruiser, but I look at the back fence player, because back being a back fence, you don't need to be an NRL player just to be back fence. I look at the people who absolutely obliterate themselves, Dad, like you, on the piss on the weekend.
Yeah.
And then they wind up on the back fence on a Monday morning and just get after their week. And I think that's a lot of our listeners. A lot of our listeners listening to this in the car right now, they've had 30 schooners over the weekend.
Yeah,
they're driving.
Hopefully they're not driving.
No. But like it's out of their system. But they're driving into work right now thinking, how am I going to get through this? And they are just winding up off the back fence trying to get to Friday.
People, just trust me on this. Oftentimes on a Friday, Saturday, I've got a big Sunday night show coming up, particularly in finals. So I say, you know what, going to take it easy this week. But guess what? I never do.
And you never will.
Never will.
Storm versus Bulldogs, Friday night footy.
It was entertaining game, Coop.
Second versus third.
Really enjoyed it, but both sides, including your Melbourne Storm, are got to pick up significantly if they're going to win this title.
I could not agree more. I looked at this side, the game, sorry, and Melbourne have always been good at just grinding wins out, even when they're not necessarily playing well. But I think this time of the year, I think they'd be really disappointed in not playing. They're not playing their best football. Like in finals, they pride themselves on wanting to go into the game and not beating themselves, and not get. If you play good, the only way you're getting beat is by the other team playing better. This game, I thought both sides both played quite average. A lot of errors, gave the opportunity to the other side to actually take it with both hands. No side really grabbed it by the horns. I think Melbourne will have a lot to review this week.
Touched on it last week. I've never seen bellyache like this at this time of the year. Like even after the game, in the press conference, I'm trying to find the right word. It was still almost like a bit of a softness to him. Like, he's got that hard edge. There's part of me, I was watching him going, with no Jerome, perhaps wasn't playing the other night, but there's no Nelson. Is he sort of resigned? Is he sort of looking, going, mate, if we pinch this title, well, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading that completely wrong. I just haven't seen him like this at this time of the year ever.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think at all he'd be thinking like that, because they've got the troops, and they proved it the other night with Pezzett, how good Jonah was.
He played good, Jonah.
And Wishy when he come off the bench. We said that they were probably going to swap him. But I think without Hughesy, they can definitely still win this competition.
Yeah.
And I think knowing Bellyache and how he is day to day, maybe he's a little bit worn down from the year, and it's disguising itself as softness. But he'll be giving it to him and driving them very hard this week, I guarantee you.
Early in their game, and I would say for basically the first half, Storm really dominated yardage.
Yeah.
Early on, mate, they were just punching through all the time, and I was going, holy dooly, look at this. Yet at half-time, the score was 8-6. And that flattered the Dogs, but it was a reward to the Dogs for their defence in their own quarter is very good. Like, they missed some tackles through the game, but once a team starts to attack their line, they are good. I mean, errors are really hurting them. I mean, I don't want to sound boring, talking about errors. I've got to stop making errors. Well, thanks, Scoop, but they're really hurting them.
Yeah.
And Dogs have a very good defence, structural defence, but the amount of errors they're making, even their excellent defence can't absorb them. And that's, if they can just eliminate a lot of these unforced errors, my God, they're going to find a big difference in their game. The Storm first try, I'll say this, and one minute I said this defence structurally was good, but this one, they really went at Lachie Galvin a few times, and that first try come about, and if you go and watch it, people, this is really interesting. Now, one of the golden rules of defence is that you do not slide. You don't slide outward until the ball goes past you. Right? That is a golden rule of defence. And what they do is the ball goes across to Munster, and you've got Joe Chan, who is flying on a straight line on the inside shoulder of Lachie Galvin. Now, Lachie, in his mind, you can see he wants to slide out. He's trying to protect the potential 3-on-2 on the outside, and he's holding. And then all of a sudden, Munster just delays the pass a quarter of a second, and Lachie loses his nerve and slides, and Chan goes straight through.
Katoa?
Hey?
Eli Katoa? You talking about that try?
He went straight through. They got tackled there, then Jonah threw the ball to Eli Katoa, who scored. But the pebble in the pond was
Joe Chan.
The pebble in the pond was the Joe Chan, with Lachie just holding, and that's just inexperience. Like, he's still a young guy, but hold, hold, and I'm gonna slide, and that just beautiful little delay from Munster, and just goes straight.
Well,
through.
that's what it's you train it so hard, and you try to get yourself in that mindset of don't slide, you got to protect your inside shoulder, don't take a dummy. But when you got Cameron Munster and they have shapes around you, it's very hard. But I agree with you. Yeah. And you know what I loved about having a look at, if you go back and have a look at the highlights of a lot of Melbourne's tries, and we said how in big games you don't it's not the big plays that actually score the tries. Sometimes it's good kicks for your attacking threats or getting quick play the balls and playing. That you saw the quick play the balls that Melbourne were able to create with Harry Grant coming back into the side. 3 of their key tries that like the one you just said, Katoa, they get the quick play the ball through Joe Chan. They go 1 pass, 2 pass, nothing actually doing. They kind of just found Katoa, and because it was such a quick play the ball, they slid and Ellie went straight through and scored. And then later that first half, Lasati scores on the short side where they get a quick play the ball. Munster goes down, little short ball, Lasati scores. And then in that second half, the real game-breaking try, Harry gets out, drops Stefano off. He gets an offload to Harry. Wishy, the contortionist who just come on, fresh legs, just punches a hole using his footy instincts, drops whatever they've got. He just punches a hole off Harry. Kick out hits him with everything. He ends up scoring. Like those 3 tries, very simple things, but
they are.
Playing off the back of a quick play the ball really leans into Melbourne's hands.
That one with Munster going up the short side, in that instance there, Coop, it made, by everyone doing their job well, made it look easy. Harry just taking a step forward and getting Munster past the marker depth.
Yeah.
Munster identifying his target defender and pulling him out of shape, and his hole runner just hitting the right half of the hole at the right time.
It was good. It was a good coach. Very simple, old school coaching rules, but they did it well.
Couple of big moments in the game. I'm going to talk about the second try in the Dogs in a minute. Remind me that if I forget.
Yep.
As you get to a certain age and you get tired.
Yeah, that's what drinking does.
Yeah, it does. The introduction of Toby Sexton comes onto the field. Yeah, and look, they looked a different side. When he came on and Galvin went to his natural role at 6, they just looked a better side. Burton, I thought, played very good at left centre. We'll save what we think is going to happen this week for the preview. Want some stuff to talk about there, but in my opinion, Sexton is in a little bit of doubt. They're saying it's a sternum or more like a shoulder,
looks like a pec.
Yeah. So I don't know where he's happy to expect him to play. Crichton and Tuala Tuala get a break. He won't play. Crichton.
Yeah, I've seen reports
extreme doubt.
They're saying Liz Frank at one point, which is you don't play with a Liz.
I don't know. They said if they get through this game, he's a chance the next week, but it'd be in extreme doubt. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the second try. Firstly, I want to talk about that first try, where it was Sexton's first touch of the ball. He went on.
Yeah.
What they did there, they did something there that they didn't do nearly enough in the game, and that was isolate Viliami Kikau with Jonah Pezet. Like Jonah's an edge defender. You know what it's like, mate. You got Kikau is big, he's got footwork and speed.
I do.
Yeah, and they hit him there, and he went over and did that thing, did a pass which bounced off the knee. That's the drama he can cause. Once in the second half, they did a shot. They went down one side, went 1, 2, 3 passes to Kikau again, and he got the ball off to Burton, who scored again. The presence of Kikau. They didn't do that enough. They played too much set-up football. Against an enthusiastic defence like Melbourne, you take them to an edge to gather numbers and you hit them over the far side.
Yeah.
That is a very, very strong principle against good defensive sides. But you just said something before. You said about when you look at tries at this time of the year, where they stem from, and guys just doing simple things right. The second try, I want you to go and have a look at something, people, right? And this just shows you the importance of plays 2 and 3. Now, they're doing a yardage set at the time, the Bulldogs. And at the time, they're struggling to get forward a little bit. But on this, what leads to this try is this. And again, a little thing that made an enormous difference. And it's Jacob Kiraz, right, Coop?
Yeah.
Jacob Kiraz gets the ball and he just straightens behind the ruck and he punches half through. Not a bit, and it didn't make a break, but he punches through, gets his body through the line, gets up, plays the ball quick. He makes about 12 metres. What happens there, Satili Tupanua, who, by the way, my God, what a player. He gets on the back of that and he goes, bang, he takes 12 metres. Now, what happens in that instance? The playmakers at the Dogs suddenly go from saying, oh, mate, we're going to kick ourselves out of trouble, to going, mate, let's put an attacking kick in. They put an attacking kick in, Toby Sexton, and Nick Mooney drops the ball. They get scrum feed. In that set of 6, they score. Jacob Carraz scores on the right side. It's a double Carraz. But he starts it 2 or 3 minutes earlier by simply getting forward, getting on his front, and playing the ball quick. The most basic, simple, fundamental at the start of a set led to a try that happened 2 or 3 minutes later.
Yeah.
That is just the importance of those basic principles on getting forward in plays 1, 2, and 3. And if you look at Penrith, one of the cornerstones of their success in the last 5 years has been To'o getting forward on early tackles. Yeah. To'o and Edwards dominating that yardage.
It's a snowball effect, and it's that hard. It's hard enough to try to make a dominant tackle and get someone on their back on a slow play of the ball when it's a big bloke. When Carraz and To'o get quick play the balls for whatever team, it's so hard as a defense when you're on the back foot to try to win the tackle. It's just continues to snowball right into the 5th tackle.
Well, we know that the Broncos, Madge will sort of rest his team up this week. They've got the week off. Melbourne, what do you think Melbourne will do?
They had a beer on they had a beer on the weekend. They'll get some time off, I imagine. There's a few boys this time of the year carrying some niggles and whatnot, so I imagine that they'll probably train during the week, try to get the weekend off potentially. Maybe like a Friday, Saturday.
Just a special mention while I'm at it. I was going to ask you about Munster's ankle, but shout out to Munster. I thought his second half was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It wasn't a typical Munster performance in the fact that I found a lot, Coop. Munster was doing a lot of half-field plays, which I don't think suits Munster quite as much in the fact that when he wants to run the ball from a half-field position, the gaps, you're not spreading the defence, and they can sort of umbrella him a little bit and sort of place him in a phone box. If I'm Munster, if I'm Belichick, I'm telling Munster, hey, listen, if you're looking to run the football and have a bit of impact with your running game, let's work the ball past the far post and catch the ball with a little bit more width. Okay? First receiver, but outside the second or third defender so they can't outside in you.
Yeah.
It'll make them defend passively, and that's all Munster needs. But his second half was so gutsy.
Oh,
he just kept taking it up.
When he went to fullback, I love when Matty gets to fullback and he doesn't have to organise. He gets in, he takes those. Most fullbacks take the last carry before the kick so that they can get a full kick chase line in the kick, and then the fullback's already back there. He just runs back. When he was in there trying to get a quick play ball there, he looked so dangerous. A couple of times just making people miss. I'd love to see him bring more of that to his 5'8" game, because I felt like there was a lot of he was trying to organise a lot of stuff that first half and he couldn't get his game on.
Jack found something today which we might use going forward. Jack, tell us this might or might not be interesting sometime in the next couple of weeks when we preview and review. Jack, tell Coops what you found today.
Yeah, well, the camera's already gone, so that's a great start to the camera. Sorry, guys, I the Old World Tavern, my main sponsor. What I found was my old algebra book and papers from my HSC. I was doing Pythagoras theorem, and then on the back of it is Dad's entire game plan for the 167 model for the 2017 Melbourne Storm side, with all his notes. And he wrote down quotes that he had with Craig during the 2016 season, and how he needed to change things up. And then it talked about, it had like quotes in it. I've got Pythagoras theorem on the other side, and then on the other side,
highly intellectual stuff on the other side.
It literally says, like in quotations, like Cooper will run the show. He has the full stick of it, and then Cameron and Billy has the say, but they'll swap roles on Billy's mark. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So we can pull that out and we'll read through some of it, and I'll talk about that principle, which my principle was 1, 2, 3 football. So we'll talk about that a lot.
What we'll do is we'll frame it. And we'll auction it off to our listener. But
who would not want that?
No. But minimum bid $20,000 because that shit's important, and it wins premierships.
Our backfence
player for this game. Now I got 2 blokes I want to shout out here. This is more of a feel good one. Toby Sexton.
Yeah,
I actually think he was probably. I think kick out was amazing for them, but I think Toby was the real game breaker for them. They looked a different side when he came on, so I think he was one of their best players out there. But reward for effort during the year, had a tough time getting dropped. The media scrutiny, everything that he's gone through this year, And a week is a long time. Something as a player that you get told when you're going in and out of reserve grade is just hang in there. A week's a long time. It can be easier said than done to just hang in there. Sometimes you think you're so far away. Toby wouldn't have thought he probably would have been in this position 6 weeks ago. Gets a call up off the bench, goes into the side when who got hurt?
Crichton.
Crichton gets hurt. And then is one of their best players out there. So shout out to Toby. He could, you know, who knows where he's going to be in threes. Could be winning a grand final.
And good on him for the class he showed during times when most people thought he was being dudded.
Yeah.
The fact that he didn't drop his guard, and you can see his teammates when he scored that try and the Bulldogs crowd. It's just great.
And it looked like Cam Serraldo. I saw him do an interview before the game. He said he's worked so hard. He's been playing hooker in New South Wales Cup.
Says a lot about him as a kid.
And another shout out, William Warbrick.
Fantastic.
Start of this year, he got hurt in the trials, played round one. Brick, he didn't even think he was going to potentially come back this year, let alone there was a period there where he didn't even know if he'd ever come back and play rugby league. So, had a pretty bad,
had a difficult start to the game, but finished so strong. Second half was
and I thought
excellent.
He was so physical, and then he obviously had the nail in the coffin, getting the intercept and going 100 metres. So shout out to William.
Well done, Will. Mine, I tell you, I'm going to go on a losing side. I'm going to Tilly Tupanua. I cannot tell you how impressed I am with that guy since he's come back from injury. He's a powerhouse.
He's gone.
He's a great player.
Big loss from the Roosters.
Big loss.
Like, I mean, Terrell May, Satili Tupanua, two probably the best buys of the year, and they both left the Roosters.
Undoubtedly, yeah. Anderson Coops. I got to get some sleep, man. I've been doing too much work and too much drinking.
Well,
but
maybe
too much fun.
Are you going to compromise? Compromise?
No.
I can't even spell it.
I know there's a C in there somewhere.